Welcome back to the Sick and Successful podcast. Today we have a wonderful guest with us. Her name is Luisa. She is the founder of Elle Consulting. She is a leadership mentor, international speaker, trusted advisor to boards and C-suites, and a hidden leading forces ninja. She is a recognized speaker, writer, and mentor of amazing entrepreneurs to become dynamic, compelling, and impactful leaders of teams that rock. Over the past 15 years, she has helped entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders across a range of companies from Fortune 500 companies and world-leading organizations such as Coca-Cola, BCG, Pfizer, Merck, and many more to scale up and mid-sized companies from 20-plus countries to guide them to implement cutting-edge, people-centered transformations to expand their business beyond what is expected. Welcome to the podcast, Luisa.
Oh my God, Natalie, I have goosebumps. Is that me?
That is you. Oh, it was when I was reading who was coming on the podcast today and doing some more research into you, I'm like, I'm excited to talk to you. You have such an amazing experience.
Wow, yeah, probably I've been an entrepreneur for 30 plus years. Yeah. And the other day I was counting how many companies I founded in the meantime. And the number is pretty impressive.
I think that happens as an entrepreneur, right? Our kind of purpose shifts and where we're focusing shifts. So tell me a bit more about what is your mission and your passion right now in this season of life.
Oh, wow. That's a very good question. So let's say that I have a mission as Luisa Ferrario, and then I have a mission as the CEO of my company. Okay. The two things, of course, align to some extent, but let's say that my own mission and purpose is to enjoy life. That's it. Full stop at the end of the sentence. That's it. So this means everything and anything. Okay. So, but in terms of being the CEO of my own company, my mission is to help other entrepreneurs and business owners grow their businesses and expand their businesses and their companies. And basically, I would say to make millions, impacting millions. So that would be the short sentence.
I love that. I love that. Make millions and impact millions. And not just about the money, but about, making the world a better place.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that. And you are from Cyprus, right? Or no, originally from Italy, living in Cyprus, and right now spending the summer in Gdańsk, Poland, which is where my family's from. So I'm jealous. I would do anything to be there with you right now. So tell me a little bit about that. So how you run such a successful company kind of all over the world.
Yeah. So a few years ago, maybe it was 2015, I had a very, very interesting piece of work with the VIP sales, global VIP sales of a multinational company based in Canada with the second headquarter in Austria, offices in Germany, and he was from Italy. So he was living basically in the VIP lounge of the airports.
Wow.
And he had a team of 12 people from 11 different countries. So this means with the 11 different languages, cultures, religions, habits, ways of doing business. Okay. And for me, that was a very, very enlightening experience. I grew so much with that experience. I was coaching him because he was really suffering. So the word virtual was not even on our vocabularies, but he needed someone to help him to put all those things together, especially because his wife was expecting the fifth baby, so they already had 4 babies, and the fifth one was on his way because it was a boy, and so he really wanted to have also his own life out of this. And he also wanted to be able to lead his team the best way possible. He wanted to be compelling, engaging, and he wanted to have committed people. So all the things that I help leaders have, and have achieved. And so he was everywhere. And in this everywhere, I had to adapt to his schedule. That is something that I was used to do, but usually it was not so much in terms of time zones, and so on and so forth. And so sometimes we were having conversation 15 minutes in the morning, his morning at 7, while maybe he was in Canada and I was in my office. So it was very fun. So I learned a lot, and I learned about the flexibility that I could offer him in terms of helping the process of coaching be successful. At the same time, I had a lot of fun because I get bored very quickly. And so I had a lot of fun with this project. And so I told to myself, this is the way I want to have my life. So I have a framework that I use to help leaders achieve their goals, and also entrepreneurs and business owners. And the second item of this framework is lifestyle, because what I noticed over the years is that leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners, and it was also my own experience, so I can tell that firsthand, do not think about their lifestyle prior starting their companies, starting their businesses, pivoting on something different, changing if they are working in the corporate world, changing on a new role, and so on and so forth. So I told to myself, this is something that I absolutely have to help others put their attention on, especially, so we are on a podcast where we talk also about being sick. And that was also taking that part of my life that was, and it is, and still is, a huge part of it. I recognize the importance of defining my lifestyle first and foremost. And so I started from there to create also a culture by my clients that working online was possible, and with the same results, and sometimes even better results, because people, especially their peoples, so when I was working with a corporate world, they didn't have to, I don't know, to spend 2 hours to come to me, or I didn't have to spend 2 hours to go to them. They do not have to invest money in paying me my travel, and so all the things that were involved. And again, that was before 2020, and so that was a very lucky move. And yeah, and that's why that's the reason why I am here, and I can work everywhere in the world. I have clients in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in UK, and yeah, and all over Europe. So I can tell you that it's lovely, also because I like so much to travel. And it's a very huge part of the enjoyment that I was talking in the beginning. And so I enjoy so much to go out for a walk and not to see always the same thing that I could see elsewhere. So before moving to Cyprus, I've spent almost 1.5 years in Austria. So I have lived in several places. Yeah.
Amazing. So what languages do you speak?
I speak Italian, that is my mother tongue. I speak English, I speak German, I speak a little bit of French, and I understand quite well Spanish, but I'm not so good in speaking it.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's something you don't see a lot of in Canada, in the States. You know, Polish was my first language, and then French, and then English. I've lost French now, which a lot of people, you know, if you don't know more than one language, you don't understand how you can lose one, but it's definitely possible. But you don't see someone who can speak 5, or I'm didn't count. I'm not great at numbers, but like 5 or so languages very often anymore. So that's really impressive. That's awesome.
But this is something that is very common in the
Absolutely.
in the
Europe.
English speaking culture, because you have the language that is probably the most known non-spoken, because probably the most spoken is Chinese or Indian, I don't know, or Spanish, I don't know, but English. Everything that has a second language on legal papers, so on and so forth, is always English. So
yeah.
So
you don't have to
comfortable. You're comfortable in your language.
Yeah. For me, I understand different languages, right? Because I grew up not speaking English. I was kicked out of nursery school because I didn't know how to speak English. So I understand that experience, and traveling the world, not knowing how to speak the language. But it's a very different thing to live somewhere where you don't speak the language. Like you said, you're in Poland for the summer. How do you get by? And do you do, a lot? Do you spend a lot of time inside working because you are remote, or do you do a lot of, working out in coffee shops, things like that as well?
Yeah. So every time that I have a call with the clients or an interview like this one, I am always in the flat that I rented for those 3 months. Otherwise, I really like to, all the back office is done in different places. And because I get a lot of inspiration when I am there, I am surrounded by this, let's say, white noise that is very comfortable in terms of, and in a language that is not my own language, so I do not understand anything in Polish.
Yeah.
It's very good. So it's just, something that is in the background, and so I can concentrate and focus very well. But also when I live in Cyprus, where everybody almost speaks English, I go out and I work outside, also because we have a fabulous sea, and so.
Yeah, amazing. And where is your family located? You're such a nomad. Do you see them often?
Yeah, so my family still consists in one sister and one daughter. So this is the family. And my sister is still in Italy, and my daughter recently relocated to Germany. She was living in Milano, but in Italy, but she recently relocated in Germany, in Munich. She works for Microsoft, and she relocated there. And so.
Well, then you guys are a short flight away from each other, and that's amazing. On the same side of the world, at least.
Absolutely, for the time being, yes.
Yeah, for the time being.
Who knows?
That's awesome.
Because I had companies in the United States, and when I had the companies there, we were planning with my daughter to move there because we could not think about being apart for that much more. That was maybe the 2,000-3,000 miles, because we already experienced that, because when she was 14 and 15, for 2 years she went to Dominican Republic because her father moved there for a while for work, and so she wanted to travel and to study abroad, and so she moved there. But it was very, very difficult to keep the connection. It was 2013, 13 and 14, and it was really, really painful. I didn't say no. I supported her. I always supported her in everything she had chosen to do. But that probably was the first time that I cried all my tears for a week because I was keeping everything for myself, and at a certain point she confronted me and she told me, I know that you are hiding something, so it's better. She was 14, but she was already leading her life very well, and so I told her that my biggest fear was to lose my connection as a mother. Because I didn't know how consistent we could be. I knew that I could be consistent, but I don't know how a 14 years old person could be consistent in reaching out to being on the other part of the world. Now she speaks 5 languages better than me, but back then she even didn't speak English very well. So she had so much on her plate to put together in order to fit where she was going, and she didn't speak a word of Spanish. So that was a very tough experience, and so we chose to stay on the same part of the world for the time being.
Amazing. So tell me a little bit more of the companies you have founded in the past, and what type of companies have you had before?
Oh, wow. This is basically past lifetimes. So I first started with a company that was helping music publishing companies to connect with singers and music writers, because I was married with a music publisher, and so I founded this company with him and with my sister-in-law. And that company name was Tandem. That was my first official company. I was the president of this company, and it didn't go very well. It lived for 3 years, and then we closed it. It was a very good experience in terms of in terms of things not to do as an entrepreneur. And so then after that, I stopped for a couple of years because I had my daughter, and I just wanted to focus on that. And then I started again having other kind of companies that are very different than the one that I have today, because I have been for several years a vegan chef. And I had a vegan school, and I was coaching people to transition from, let's say, a normal and omnivore eating diet to a more vegan one. And I also had a restaurant for several years. Together with a partner, and that was another story. And then and then I had companies in the real estate, and those companies were based in the US. They were in Florida, and my business was basically in Cleveland, in Ohio. And so I was traveling here and there. And then I still have a couple of companies in the real estate in Italy. And then I have been a freelancer for, I don't know, probably 30 years in between those things.
Wow.
This is probably the most consistent thing that I have been or done, and always in the field of leadership in the industry of coaching and mentoring. And then 3 years ago, after a while, I wanted to establish again a company that was dedicated to this business that has been going for the longest time in my life. And so, yeah, I moved to Cyprus, and I started Elle Consulting there. Yeah, it's
awesome.
almost 3 years old. Yeah, almost 3 years. Yeah.
So with Elle Consulting, what is tell me how you work with someone. So let's say someone like me was looking to hire a business coach or mentor. How do you work with people?
So are you asking about how the process starts, or what the offers are?
Kind of like what the offers are. What's the transformation that you provide, and what do you work on with them? And
yeah. Okay. So I have basically the framework that I was referring to, that is called Magnetic Ninja Leaders. And it's a framework that is based on 3 different pillars with 9 items. So each pillar has 3 chunks, each chunk in total, we have 9 chunks. And you can start with, let's say, the first offer that is called Millionaire Mind Zone Jumpstart. And then, and this is, so what you can get from there is reframing your mindset around money and business growth, and in general around abundance, also abundance in life, not just business. Energy, so physical energy, mental energy, all the things that are energy related. I have been a healer for all my life. This is something that I usually do not mention, but usually very sensitive people are healer and they don't know that they heal. But I have been practicing this for 30 years, and I have so many certifications of things that I have studied. Okay, anyway, so mindset, energy, and emotions. Okay, so this is what I call mindset, emotion set, and energy set. So you need to be aligned with those three things in order to be able to see practical results that you are expecting, and most of the times even beyond that. And this is the first part. So when you wanted to start working with me and you just want to have a bite of what it is, this is what you can have. And this is usually long, from 21 days. I know that it might sound very short, but the tools and the processes are very, very powerful, and probably also due to the fact that I have used them for so much longer, and especially with myself, they really work very, very quickly. And so it's useless that I say that I tell people that they can go and work with me for 6 months when they can have the same results in 3 weeks,
Right.
Let's say that it can go a little bit longer if you need to have a little bit more time, but not longer than 6 weeks. Okay, in general. The second offer is the first one, plus strategy, systems, and oh my God, it's 3S: strategy, systems, and I don't get the third one. Okay, and
that's okay.
Doesn't matter. And this is called Ninja Business Activation. And so basically, you add to the part that is related to the mindset, emotion set, and energy set, something that is more specific to the systems, to the strategy that you have, and that helps you to nail down other things that are more business related. And so you start to move from the inside leadership on the outside leadership, because basically the transformation that you have with each one of my offers is that you have a transformation that goes from the inside out. And so you have to start in the inside, of course. And this is the second one is basically a VIP day, a weird one, because I have been requested many times to have it done differently. So I call it an horizontal VIP day or a vertical VIP day. So it is horizontal when you just want to have everything in just one day, or if we are on a 2 different time zone, 2 days in a row. And then you have another small piece that is 2, 3, 4 weeks after we finish the VIP day. And then this is the implementation session. Otherwise, if it is a horizontal, it goes that we have the same number of hours, basically, and we split them following more the flow of what is happening, because there are people who are very, very clear. They want everything done yesterday. And so I'm totally flexible. I'm totally happy to help them with that. And other people that have different rhythm, and also their business have a different rhythm. So
for sure.
Usually when we have the first call, I get a few tests, and I see with them if it is more profitable for them to have the vertical or the horizontal version of the VIP day, because you might want to have everything done very, very quickly, but it might not be the best thing for you.
And so, sorry, in that VIP day, what are you focusing on with the person?
The mindset, so the same things.
Okay.
Plus the strategy,
Gotcha.
the business, and then the structure. That was the third S. So the system, structure, and strategy. So the systems, business systems, business strategy, and business structure. And
Gotcha.
it depends. It might be that you need to have to pick my brain on all of them. But we know that ahead of time. So when we have the first call, we already know what you need.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then there is a third one. The third one is when you, it's the more comprehensive one. So it has all the 9 items of the framework. And it is more when your, let's say, CEO soul is knocking at the door and you are in the process of building your team, or you already have a team and you are ready for a more strong focus on your leadership, because 3 of the main parts of this last piece that is called Ninja Leaders Accelerator are meant to cover delegation, to cover how to build an A team, and how to empower yourself in order to be able to empower our other people, the lifestyle that I was mentioning before, your personal brand as a leader, all those things that are very, very useful and that might not be so relevant if you are, for instance, if you are a coach or a consultant or a business or a service provider, and your business makes from, I don't know, from 60K to 100 or 150, you might not be ready for that piece of work. That also is the longest one. It goes on for 6 months. It can be shorter, it can be 4 months, but really doesn't make any sense. This one needs to be a little bit longer and needs to have a little bit more of commitment on both sides, my side and the customer side. Yeah. So basically, this is what it is. So to sum up, mindset, the first one, mindset and systems, the second one, and mindset, systems, and leadership, the third one.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. And to pivot a little in our conversation, I would love to know, so when you did the form and we were kind of looking into having you on the podcast, you had a really interesting look on the word sick. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about. So it's something, a misconception when someone hears about the podcast Sick and Successful, a lot of times is that we focus on the illness, where for me, my mission in life is really to empower people to know that no matter what illness or life circumstances you have, you can be successful. But I was really intrigued by your response on if you are sick and what you are sick with. So do you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So my idea of about that is that as I was sharing on that paper, considering myself just sick would not help me, and would not help me, would not help anybody else. So would put me in the under the level of a poor victim who is not able to take her own life in her own hands and lead it. So if there is something that I have learned over the years is that leadership is a choice that starts from within. And also being sick is a choice. I know that this might sound weird, but I chose, as my physical body is not the most gifted part of me in terms of health. I have been speaking with my body over the years and agreeing on the next level of sickness or of health that we could handle in order to be as much expansive as possible in order to open up my life and make new achievements possible. Because as you can see, I have very alive and vibrant energy. This comes from years and years and years of taking care of myself as if I was the coolest sport, most successful sport athlete possible. Yeah. So I have been taking care of my nutrition, and I still do. I have been taking care of my the food that I put in my head. So I stopped watching television 15 years ago. Yeah. I never owned a television since then. Wow. I have one here and one in Cyprus because those apartments are rented and they didn't want to get rid of the television, but it is not switched on. And I do not read newspapers. I do not listen to the radio. When I want to get informed, I have my own sources of information that I know are respectful, and I do not want to have any trash on my path. Yeah. So I'm very selective in terms of people that I have as friends. I'm also very selective in terms of clients, I would say, and this is something that came with a lot of wisdom over the years, because I know that I'm not the good choice for everyone, and not everyone is the good choice for me. So I think that my role with clients is to be a partner, and it's impossible to be a partner if you really do not like, respect, appreciate the other person to its fullest, to the whole, okay, of what they are, and so I chose to be a different sick person, a more intentional sick person, a more aware sick person. And one of the sickness that I have been dealing with, apart from coming from a very heavy household when I was a kid.
Heavy meaning, what do you mean by heavy? Like
heavy.
Physically?
Heavy mean that I have been beaten many times.
Okay, abusive.
I have been psychologically gaslighted many times. Many times means for many years in a row. And my father was an alcoholic. Even if my parents were beautiful people, but this doesn't mean that they were carrying with them so deep wounds that were affecting my life and my sister's life. And then my mother had a lot of addictions, food addictions, religious addictions, and game addictions. So also the money part of my family was very, very dysfunctional. Not that we didn't have money, but there was not at all a culture of abundance. I was thinking just the other day, that since I was probably 15, 16, maybe even 18 years old, I was thinking that we were a poor family, but we were not. I mean, my father, when I was 20 years old, so I am now 53. My father, when I was 20 years old, so it means in 1989, was earning something that today could correspond to 12K a month.
Wow.
50 a month, and there were some months that I was told it's not possible for us to have that because we do not have money.
Oh.
And then when my mother died when she was quite young. She was 48 years old, and I was 24. My sister was 19. And I found out that she was spending all the money on the lotto, and she was
Gambling.
gambling and doing those things. And so I had to lend my father the money for the funeral because my mother died and he didn't have the money to do the funeral.
Wow.
And when I found out that, I told myself, no, this is not possible. And so my father was relying so much on me that I probably was the only person he gave his money and told, you can do everything that you want with that. And I kept growing his net worth and growing and growing and growing. So also because he was very confident that I could handle that. And probably this was a very empowering thought from his side that really helped not just the relationship, but also, to the way that I was handling things. And so the other things that I had, and one thing that I still have is fibromyalgia, and sometimes it gets better, sometimes it gets a little bit worse. So for instance, this last week here in Gdansk, there is a lot of humidity, and humidity is not the best choice when you have fibromyalgia. And so I had some more pain than usual, but I know how to handle it. So I know that I have to shift a little bit on a different food. I know that I have to go to sleep at a certain time. I know that I have to do certain activities, such as walk a little bit longer, or to use some energy techniques in a different ways or in a different quantity. So and also the other thing is the hypersensitivity. That sometimes gets in the way, but on the other side really helps me to connect with people and to help them very, very deeply to go over their stuckness, also with their business, because I use those healing techniques not just with people, but also to heal businesses and to heal teams. This is something that I have used for many years. I do not promote that a lot because usually matching the word healing with the teams and with the corporate word and with leadership really doesn't work. But this is probably a stigma that we need to break.
Absolutely.
And a couple of days ago, I interviewed a colleague of mine. He's from San Francisco, and he's a healer, and he heals leaders and entrepreneurs. And so I really wanted to have him as a guest because, the interview will go out with our LinkedIn newsletter in a week, because I have the proof that this is possible and that there are
100%.
leaders and entrepreneurs who are okay in accepting that there is this part of them that is called being human.
Yep. Yep.
And that sometimes need to be addressed in a way that is slightly different than what the outside world might think it should be.
100%. 100%. So you mentioned something that kind of caught my ear a little bit. I want you to elaborate when you mentioned, I chose to be sick. What did you mean by that? Because I know that some people listening to the podcast might feel a little bit offended, if they're at the beginning of the diagnosis, because I understand and I have my own, version of it, because of my sickness. That's my superpower when it comes to businesses. I see things in a different light. I see humans in a different light. I see the way that I structure my day in a different light because I chose my sickness as my superpower. But someone who might just have been recently diagnosed or maybe is struggling with a child who has an illness. Tell me a little bit more on what you mean.
Absolutely. So one part of choosing is that I chose the sickness in terms of being my superpower as well, because as I was mentioning, this gives me more humanity, more flexibility, more openness in terms of possibilities, in terms of using also strategies and structures that might be unconventional, that might be disruptive, but if the end result is totally respectful and is very good for the win-win-win situation, why not? Okay, yeah. This is one thing. The other thing is that probably when I was I just had my daughter, and that was probably the worst time of my life in terms of sickness. I didn't know that I had fibromyalgia. I didn't know about hypersensitivity. I didn't know that I have a neurodivergent brain. I didn't know that I was dyslexic. I didn't know that I was that I had dyspraxia. So I didn't know about all those things, and I started researching and finding out that there were ways that I could use in order to at least decrease the number of issues that I was having. And when I say choose, is that I wanted to show up for myself. I didn't want to be a victim. I wanted, as I was mentioning before, to be a super athlete, and so to treat myself as such. And so I know that I was very weird to the eyes of many people, and some friends stopped inviting me, for instance, to have food with them, to eat with them, because I was asking them if I could bring my own food, because of all the allergies and intolerances that I had and that I still have. And nobody was talking about gluten allergies, fibromyalgia, sugar blues, and nobody was talking about that 25 years ago. And so they started to put me aside and to exclude me from the circle of friends. And so the choice was that I choose to put myself first. So if I wanted to have a remarkable life and end my days thinking that I have no regrets, I have to show up for myself. So this is the choice that I'm talking about. So, and this is a choice that I recommit every day, Natalie, not by time to time, but every day.
Yeah. And it's a thing that sometimes, you can fall into the illness, whatever it is, and you can feel like a victim. And there's a place to, mourning and grieving and learning a diagnosis. But that's something that I'm really passionate about myself as well, is you get to choose the life you live within the circumstances you were dealt, right? Nobody chose to be bedridden. Nobody chose to be whatever it is that we're all dealing with, but you get to choose the what we do within our circumstances. And I love how you said that you choose it every day, because sometimes you have to, wake up and recommit and, take care of yourself. And sometimes you want, like, you probably don't, because you've been eating well for 30 years, but sometimes you want a McDonald's hamburger, and you have to commit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. I do not like McDonald's, but sometimes I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I know that for 3 days I have to be very good. The following 3 days, the following 72 hours are very critical, and so I have to pay very much attention to what I'm eating in the next 72 hours. But this is just a choice. I want to go out. I want to eat that. I want to eat gluten. Okay, it's fine. I do that. I just need to be more aware, more conscious, and more intentional on what I eat and what I will eat, and all the other things that I will choose for the next 72 hours.
And I think it's funny, but how much that correlates honestly with business, because you have to be with an illness, you have to be more aware, you have to be more cognizant, your eyes open so much wider to the world. And then you see business in a similar light where, you know, some entrepreneurs have blinders on to their leadership skills, to the health of their team, to their maybe spiritual side, all of these things that aren't being intertwined. And that's why us quote unquote sick and successful people have such unreal superpowers when it comes to business as well.
Absolutely. Another thing comes to mind, that is vulnerability. So, for instance, people who experience sickness are definitely much more keen to be vulnerable, because if they wanted to succeed, they have to accept things. Yeah. Okay. And this is the first step. And they have to call things with their name. They have to accept them, and they have to accept their vulnerability. That means not just the physical vulnerability, but the mental vulnerability that comes with it, the emotional vulnerability, because there are days when you want to destroy everything, to shut everything down and to go, ciao.
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So this gives us, I'm not saying that people who are different than us are not vulnerable. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that this is another thing that we can put into the equation that probably is a way to be more able to really be patient and be welcoming with the other one, who, no matter who the other one is. Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. The floor is yours. So tell us what you have going on, what you want the listeners to know, anything that kind of comes to mind, or that you want to promote if you have anything new coming out.
So if you ask me what I want to promote, for sure, the Activation VIP Day, that is something that I really would suggest, at least everybody who might be interested to come on a call with me and to have a chat and to know what it is about, and maybe just to have an overall conversation on what is going on in their business, because just that might help. And I recently released a free training that is called the 28-day money mindset fix for entrepreneurs. And if anybody would like to have access to this training, they're very, very welcome. And they will have a lot of energy, a lot of mindset shift, and a lot of emotional clutter get rid of.
Amazing. We'll put the link in the show notes below. And you're also on LinkedIn is where you're most active, right? But you're on LinkedIn, Instagram. We'll have all of that down below, so everyone can take a look and follow you. And last,
I also have the newsletter on LinkedIn that is called Impactful Leaders. And
I love it. And any last words, anything you want the listeners to know?
So, Natalie, this was the first time that someone was on purpose interviewing me and was keeping the sickness into the equation. And I'm very, very, very thankful to you for that. Very, from the deep bottom of my heart, because most of people who know me don't ask about this and don't know anything about that, and somehow they are scared. I feel that they would like to know more, but they are scared. There is a sort of shame, a sort of I don't know,
keep it a secret.
Yeah,
it's taboo.
Yeah, taboo. They are holding themselves back, but those are things that we should talk more about.
Exactly.
So anything that makes you vulnerable is a superpower. This is something that I really would like to let every human being, but specifically every business owner and every entrepreneur, everything that you think it is a vulnerable point, it is your superpower. You just have to look at it from a different perspective and learn the lessons that it is behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, I got goosebumps because it's so true. It's why I'm so passionate about this podcast, is because it's people like us that are successful. It becomes something that like maybe people forget about. Even people close in our lives are like, she must be better because she's podcasting every week. She must be better because she is making so much money, or whatever their perception of us are. But no, I still struggle a lot with my health, right? But I choose to have this lifestyle. I choose to get up in the morning and do what I need to have this life. And I think it's important for us to share that so that other people who are going through the same thing or similar things can see that no, I don't get up every single day and have a 12-hour work day. There are days where I don't do very much at all, or when I have Fridays off. And we have things in our lifestyle, like you mentioned, I don't think we were recording yet, but you moved from Cyprus to different parts of the world when it gets too hot there because of your illness. And like, we do things that people might think you're a nomad just for fun, which you might be, but there's an aspect of it too, right? Of bringing our, I don't know, taking care of ourselves that people don't see, because we don't have platforms to talk about it. So thank you for being vulnerable today. I really appreciate that.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. I loved having you, and I'm sure we'll stay connected. Everyone, remember, dream big. It's possible for you, and your next version of success is around the corner. Mwah!